Oh man, did I miss that intro, guys? How are you guys doing? We are back for these live streams. Hope you guys are doing well. This is Inter Post Check. I am back from holiday. I missed you guys. I missed the intro. And I also missed the brother who's joining me today to do this Inter Post Check. And it is Matija Jovic coming in wearing the Mission Second Star shirt. How are you doing, brother?
Yes, rapping today. Good to see you again. I missed you. I missed your lives. I hope your holiday was awesome. And yeah, I wanted to welcome you back. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we do. That's why I want to do this live stream. I mean, as you guys know, if you don't know, I can't just assume you catch everything. I was away on holiday for 10 days in India, Goa, and Mumbai, which was really good, really nice. I've even got a little tan. I don't know if you can notice. I've got a little bit of a tan. I don't tan very easily, but I'm not pale anymore. At least, really good. Yeah, my belly managed to survive. They call it the Delhi belly if you go to India. I didn't get that, so that's always a good result when you go to India. But yeah, came back, recharged, ready to go. But then somehow I got ill. I guess maybe traveling and long flight, it gets to the immune system. So I was down for the post match of Feyenoord, which I did watch, but we are here. We will cover the Feyenoord game. We will cover some of the other games I missed whilst I was away. It was 10 days, but Inter playing so many games, I missed like 3 games. But yeah, Mattia, how are you doing? I'm going to bring up. Give me your pulse check whilst I go through the chat here. Whilst you give us your little, update on how you're feeling on everything interrelated.
Yeah, so far we are still going. We are still, I would say, limping towards our goals, our objectives of this season. We're still first in the league. We're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We're in the semifinals of Coppa Italia. So yeah, we are limping our way forward, and so far it's looking good. But it's only looking good if you don't check the injury list and our fixture list for April. So yeah, some say we're on our way to the treble, but I know better than to say something like that myself.
Yeah, me and Mattia were joking just behind the scenes. At the end of the season, is it going to be the Inzaghi famous 3 fingers, or is it going to be the one that he corrected afterwards, the 4 fingers, or is it going to be a different finger that
The
Mattia
middle
showed?
finger.
Or is it no? Is it going to be a fist?
Oh, yeah. I'd rather a middle finger than a fist.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
no zero titoli, right? Word to Mourinho. Yeah, I missed the intro as well. Like that intro, I've been saying to people that have been trying to get a new intro in, but now that I play after like a couple of weeks off, I'm like, wow, this is actually a really good intro. I really missed it.
it
It makes
is.
you like
It is.
um and oh yeah, how was Goa? I do recommend it to anyone who, if you ever want to go to eat. I mean, I think as it's a beach holiday, so Goa is based in the west of India. It's like a beach holiday resort, very famous for like British tourists. India obviously a former colony of England. I do recommend it. Obviously, I think in Southeast Asia or Southeast Asia, like there's probably better beaches, like more blue waters and maybe like more white sandy beaches out there. But for a vibe, like the way like Indian food and the culture, like it's very chill. I do recommend it if you're ever like looking for a destination on that side. Mumbai obviously is just like a very hectic, crazy city. But I was very impressed of like how modernized it's got over the last few years. They've put a lot of investment in India in terms of like the infrastructure, and yeah, it's starting to look a lot better than I remember when I used to go when I was younger, for sure. Have you ever been into Asia, Mattia?
No, never. I've never been to Asia.
But you teach Japanese people, right? If I
Yes.
remember. Yeah.
Yes. I work with Japanese people. I work for a Japanese company, but
Mm.
yeah, fortunately, I haven't visited Japan yet. It's on my bucket list for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I've
all
been to Japan.
Nagatomo, our Inter legend Nagatomo, they're like, oh yeah, he played for Inter. Yeah, he was captain. Yeah, he's one of the few players I mentioned from that period, and not one myself.
Yeah, I did the same when I went out there. Like no one knew about Inter. About if I mentioned Nagatomo, I was like, oh yes, Nagatomo. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you ever get the chance to go out to Japan as well, that's probably my favorite ever holiday destination that I've ever been to. But yeah, Eduardo, yeah, I also forgot I did live streams. That's why I invited Mattia. I was actually kind of feeling nervous to do one by myself. I was like, I don't want to talk to myself, so I'm gonna invite Mattia because he's always
Yeah, we're gonna hold hands and talk. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Gabri, hope you're doing well. Let's get the W before the international break. Yeah, Mattia actually is saying he wants the international break. He wants the break from Inter. I don't know how you guys in the chat are feeling.
We need it. I mean, our our list of injuries just shows that we really need a break. So I hope people are happy because Bisek was invited for the national team for the first time, and that's great for him. But yeah, I wish he'd stayed.
Yeah, I know Bisek and then Spalletti somehow will end up calling Di Marco, even though he can't stand on his 2 feet. Taram got
I
called up
think
by
it's
France,
impossible.
even though he's still struggling with his ankle injury. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I just saw Roma shit the bed against Athletic
Yeah,
Bilbao.
with the
So
red card in 10th minute.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean that fifth spot was gone as soon as Milan and Juve did what they did. It was already like mission impossible
Yeah,
after that.
yeah, that was like I just want I like, this statement will start a civil war in Rome, but I
Hmm.
actually like both teams from Rome and I want them to do well in Europe.
Yeah,
So that was a bit sad, but at least Lazio got through somehow.
yeah. Yeah, don't worry, guys. I am back for the live stream, so I will be there for the Atalanta one. And yeah, I mean, let's get into it, Mattia. One of the things that
Yeah,
we have
let's do
we have
it.
a list of things to discuss, which
Yes.
I have like a little graphic made just so I don't forget the things I want to discuss. Where is it? Uh, Here it is. So into post check. So these are the little bullet points that I wanted to discuss with you guys. The 3 games, main or 4 games that I missed. Well, I didn't miss. I watched the games, but I just wasn't able to cover it with you guys. Zielinski's injury, Taremi's interview, Koki Berenbrook, crazy fixture list, Inzaghi's 200 appearances, and Bayern in the quarter-finals. So actually, I want to start off with a crazy fixture list, Mattia, because we kind of just touched on it now.
Yeah.
No, actually, let me take this off the screen.
Nine
Bloody
games.
hell.
9 games. Every third day we play a game from 30th of March until the end of April. We have 9 games. At the same time, Atalanta, Napoli, and all the others have 5 games, almost
Yeah,
half.
yeah,
Even Bayern has 2 games less than us because they dropped out of their cup, German cup. So it's a steep hill to climb.
yeah. Yeah, and as you said, like even if you compare it to other teams, I believe even Real Madrid don't have this many games.
Nobody.
Barcelona, no one is because of the Coppa Italia fixtures and because you know unlike the Eredivisie, Serie A doesn't help Inter. Just rescheduling some fixtures to help us. Now that Inter are the only team left in the Champions League, as well, should be something that. But whatever, we won't
I
cry.
don't know. Anthony said that he expects Don Beppe to try to move one of the Coppa games because of our
Wow.
crazy schedule. I don't know if he will try, if that's even possible. Like you said, Feyenoord didn't play any games between our matchups that didn't help them, but still. Uh, yeah, so I don't know if Serie A will do something for us to relieve us. As you said, we're the only ones left in Champions League. So
That would be the most Marotta League thing if he actually manages to pull it off. I'll be like, okay, Marotta League people, you guys are right. If Beppe actually pulls that off, then just
yeah, I
play
mean,
the
they should help
Godfather,
us.
play the Godfather theme in the background, and just that video with him with the sunglasses on. You know what I'm talking about. Um, and in relation to the fixture congestion is of course our injury issues, which compared to some teams out there, like I'm not gonna really exaggerate it too much. Like some of the injuries other teams have had this season, like Juve, for example, are way worse than what we have right now. But obviously, with this makeup of our squad at the moment, it doesn't help the injury list. Let me see if yeah, FotMob have the graphic very nicely. Pretty much all of our wing backs at the moment, apart from Augusto now who recovered, are injured. Di Marco won't be back for the Atalanta game. Looks like Matty Doms won't be back either. Zalewski's definitely not back. Zielinski looks
He's
like,
done for the season.
yeah, I mean, you could even say, yeah, mid-April, that's him just coming back into the probably training, and then that's almost season over unless you're counting the World Cup in there. And then Valentin Carboni, who I saw was actually officially added back into squad last week, so he can be reused if Inter won, but here it says early June, even if they want to do that. So you can see, it's a bad injury issue, but then you have Atalanta straight on the other side show you that, you know, it's pretty normal at the moment. A lot of teams have a lot of injuries right now, right, Matija? So it's not really that much of a big
I mean,
excuse.
it's not a Feyenoord situation,
Yeah.
Feyenoord have like 15, 20 players. I don't know. That's some insane number. It's not that, but it's still alarming, and it's you see almost every game somebody falls down, and it's a month out, and
Yeah.
we have no wing backs. It's like Dumfries is our captain, Il Capitano.
Capitano.
Dumfries has been carrying us solely on that spot for a while, so it is, yeah, quite bad. And you know so far I feel like Bastoni has been our man of the season. God forbid something happens to him, we're done. We're absolutely done. So just pray for Bastoni
Yeah,
because
of course.
he's our wing back. He plays all the three in the back places. Yeah, so
Yeah. What did you? Yeah, I mean, I watched when I was in India. I watched the first Feyenoord game, and yeah, Bastoni wing back was like, did he win? Did he win man of the match, by the way, or who won man of the match for that one? I think they
I
gave
think
it
one of the
to Thuram or
strikers.
Lautaro, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the strikers. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But he was definitely watching it. He was like cooking differently at wing back. What a player, man! Yeah, you're right. Earlier on in the season, maybe I think it was Dimarco for me. I think first half of the season it was Dimarco. Thuram was my player of the season. Dimarco's like fallen off a cliff
Off a
since the new
cliff, yeah.
year. Taram has obviously had some injury issues and some inconsistency. So yeah, I think you might be right. Bastoni, consistency wise, might be maybe with Barella up there with player of the season for me.
Yeah, I mean, he had the most minutes after Zomer and Lautaro, I think.
Mm.
Bastoni had the most minutes, and we used to make fun of him. He was always ill, he was always sick, he always had to miss some game. But this season, he was so reliable, like
Yeah.
hands
Matteo, I
down.
wouldn't I wouldn't say that our injury issues will be resolved during the international break because
Pray they don't decrease.
because, as we said, Thuram's got called up for the French national team. Deschamps will probably end up starting him. Di Marco, even though he can't stand on his he can't even stand up probably, and Spalletti will still somehow end up playing him, or he'll play Barella full 95 minutes on both games. So please refrain from saying that. We'll have guys coming back, like like Zalewski, Madarmian, those guys that won't go to international. Those guys at least will come back, yes. But international break is never when our injury issues are resolved. Then Lautaro's gonna have to fly out to the other side of the world as he often does. And
I
yeah,
hate when he goes for a national break because he needs so much time to return. Like, I don't mean literally. I mean, he needs to return for
yeah,
in,
logistically.
yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen how when he's come back recently, even if he might play well for Argentina, which he often does, he comes back and he doesn't look the same straight away.
Exactly.
And it's hard for him. Like I've experienced it recently with I had a 9-hour flight to India, and the day I landed there, all I wanted to do was sleep. So it's you understand the difficulties of like jet lag. It's not that, I know they might have private jets or whatever, but that doesn't the jet lag affects you regardless of whether you're in first class in a private jet
Of
or
course.
yeah,
And
which
I
I
think
wasn't,
that
by the way, before someone I flew first class in a
I don't
private
know, you
jet.
implied something there. I don't know.
I flew one time, and that was because one of my uncles works for British Airways, and my honeymoon he upgraded me and my wife to first class or business class in our flight to Maldives. But then
Oh,
on the way
so you
back,
have
we experienced
connections. You have connections.
yeah. But on the way back, then we experienced the peasant class once again, which which made it worse. I feel like he shouldn't have given me that taste. I didn't want the taste. But yeah. Anyway, off topic. On the positive, Mickey was back against Feyenoord. Only good time for Zielu to go out. Yeah. How good was Mkhitaryan, Matija? I know that you are one of the few Mkhitaryan defenders out there. He has been very
Up and
hardly
down.
attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
He
fan
has
base
been
has
up
been
and
going
down,
on
yeah,
him.
this season, but this was an amazing performance. Uh, Absolutely vintage Mkhitaryan.
Yeah, yeah, he was my man of the match. Yeah, the other day in the game. I think Taram won it, right? But
Yeah,
again, yeah, they always give it to the guy who scored the goal.
it
But
is what it is.
Miki, if that's the Mkhitaryan, in the absence of Zielinski, we'll be very happy. But that's the issue with no Zielinski. Now it means Mkhitaryan. I
Will
mean,
die.
he always plays anyway. I mean, Inzaghi had a record of 200 appearances. Mattia, how many of those appearances had Mkhitaryan starting?
250.
Yeah. But is it with Mkhitaryan? Is it the Dzeko thing of like Inzaghi has just overused them over the last few seasons? I think there has to do a little bit with that.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I was also one of the biggest Dzeko supporters,
Yeah,
if you remember. So it's just that, you know, they're up there with age, and they've been squeezed like completely. So that's why I don't want to say like it's on Mkhitaryan. It should be on other players to push him out, and so far Zielinski hasn't convinced Inzaghi or even me to that he's better. So
yeah. It is. I mean, now that he's injured, it's also adding that narrative to Zielinski now that he hasn't really worked out. And you guys know me, I am a Zielinski fan, but that I'm talking about Zielinski from before Inter. Obviously, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that he has been underwhelming at Inter, but at the same time, I don't feel like the Mkhitaryan's performances have really been like, oh, like there was that one performance I remember. It was like Zielinski started and then Mkhitaryan came in second half and was like, whoa, this is the difference. I can't remember which game it was. It was like I think Mkhitaryan was coming back from injury and then Zielinski didn't really
yes, yes,
do
yes, I,
much.
I remember. I don't know exactly what game, but I know what you mean. Yeah, and
Yeah, it
he
was like a
just
2-3 game period where
yeah,
Zielinski
the
had to
level
start.
was
Yeah.
just up,
But then
very
afterwards,
very
after
noticeable.
Mkhitaryan returned to as a starter, is like
Yeah.
Then
He has
Zielinski
been
would
up
come
and
in.
down this season, there is no question about it. But if we want to talk about our biggest transfers of this season, which are Taremi and Zielinski, you have to say they haven't worked
Yeah,
out.
they haven't pushed the level, and they haven't pushed the starters as much as we've needed them to.
Even I would say, even a flop, you know, especially with Taremi. He's like, I would, it's insane to even say this, but I would rather Correa and Arnautovic than Taremi. So, which is insane to think, to even
It
say
is.
that, you know.
It is. It is. It is. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy in the year of our Lord 2025 that we're saying that. It's been so long that even you've stopped calling me a Korea sexual. That's how long it's been that Korea is here.
Yeah, he's been like, yeah, it's like, I would say, yeah, Taremi is reaching Gagliardini status. Yeah. Nick Stocks, hello.
Yeah, yeah. Nick Knox, the legend. Usually, when the club wins the Liga Elite, they tend to relax on the comps. Like Napoli did the year we made the final, they fell off at the end of the season.
Uh,
I guess he's replying to I
to
think
Bayern.
Piyush's comment here about Bayern. Um,
Yeah, they've basically won the Bundesliga. Yeah,
mhm,
that's true.
yeah,
But that also means they can rest, you know.
yeah.
And we, boy, we can't rest even for 2 days.
That is the thing. This old team with these injuries. It feels like really it's going to be a miracle if Inzaghi wins multiple competitions with this. But I am still on
Definitely.
the. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, Mattia. But where do you fall on the conversation of if we don't win the Scudetto this year? Where do you feel on Inzaghi's achievement over these past 4 years? As much as we all love him, is it an underachievement of one Scudetto against these Serie A teams?
Absolutely. I actually have been quite vocal about it. 1 in 4 is a failure, both for Inzaghi and for Inter as a club. You have the best, quote unquote, we always are the best team in Italy, the best 4 years in a row. You bombed the Scudetto first year. You can't tell me that we were that worse compared to Napoli. Napoli shouldn't have run away. We should have been at least as this season. Like
Not 12 losses.
it should have been neck and neck battle. And then this season we should have run away with it, especially with our biggest competitors in the mud. So I can't, you know, I understand now we are in a situation where it's just almost physically impossible, you know, because of the amount of games we have. But, you know, then you shouldn't have dropped 4-2 lead against Juve. You shouldn't have drawn against Bologna. You shouldn't have drawn against Monza. You shouldn't have lost to Milan and so on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So
again, we're not talking about. I think
no,
Matthias
no,
also.
no, no, absolutely
Yeah,
not. I
yeah,
don't want anybody except Inzaghi. I'm just saying that looking back, if we don't win this title, it's a failure.
yeah.
You
No,
have the best team in the Italy in the league for 4 years and just win it once. It's a failure. I know circumstances now are we are fighting on 3 fronts. It's a heavy schedule, but like I said, we had bad games before this heavy schedule, and it is it is a failure. So
no, yeah, yeah. I've said it many times on the channel that I obviously there was that one time where I was in Zaghi out after the 10th or 11th loss that season. But aside from that moment of weakness, I am a big Inzaghi supporter, and I disagree
absolutely.
with
And
you.
again, if we're not clear, if we don't win the Scudetto, we consider it a failure, but we don't want Inzaghi out.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely not. So, just to be clear.
yeah. But I also feel like we will, in the end up winning the Scudetto. I don't know if me is that's me being a positive, too positive. Where do you fall on it as the
I
Lord
think we'll win the
Commander?
treble.
Wow.
No,
I'm gonna
but
clip that. I'm gonna clip that one.
you can clip me. Yeah, I, for me, Scudetto is be all end all. I don't care about Coppa Italia. The only thing I care is because it's against the air conditioner. That irks me. I don't want to lose against them again. That irks me. That's the only thing that irks me. I don't care about Coppa Italia.
Mm,
Quarterfinals of a Champions League is very respectable, especially after how everybody else performed. Very respectable. And Bayern, if we lose, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. It's
no.
also a respectable opponent. It is what it is. But Scudetto, man, with this competition, I really, really want it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. And like Mesto says, it's definitely, regardless of what happens this season, yeah, it is definitely a good opportunity. If Inzaghi, also we have to see if Inzaghi wants it. Not everyone has got the ability or the energy to be able to do a rebuild, which is, I don't think we need a rebuild, but definitely a refresh. Um,
We need a rehaul like we had in 2023
yeah, yeah, like
before the Scudetto season.
people
So
forget like the summer, for that summer we signed like 12, 13 players. I mean, not
yeah,
all starters obviously, but
yeah. So we
big.
need
It was a
something
big
like
squad.
that
Yeah,
this
big
summer.
big squad overhaul. And this summer, as you mentioned already, it was just mainly Taremi, Zielinski, and a backup goalkeeper. So
Which I don't want to be one who runs away from uh, things. I said that's a useless transfer and it's wasted money. It turned out I was wrong because Zomer got injured and he was a great substitute.
yeah, yeah, I still think the Jose Martinez transfer. I think we will judge next year or the year after. Like I feel like it's, for those 2 or 3 games, yeah, he did a good job. But like it's, again, I think even a lone goalkeeper can do a job like that. Just for a couple of games, 3 games. But yeah, he does look like a good buy for the future as well. But again, could that money be used? Could have been used elsewhere? I think that.
Hindsight, yeah, is 2020. We didn't expect that Taremi and Zielinski would turn out this way.
Yeah.
So
No, but I mean, even in the summer, I think most of the fan base was still quite puzzled with the use of 15 million in our financial
yeah,
situation. Like, we were all saying, you know, in the past, we would have spent money to get rid of players like, Correa, I think would have cost us, if let's say he wanted to pay out his contract, um, 5 or 6 million, or some Arnautovic as well, which I think under Zhang, they would have taken that loss. They would have said, F
yeah,
it, we're gonna take that loss.
yeah. Like with
That
Sanchez, yeah,
Yeah, like Sanchez, you pay him off, even though it's like on the books it goes down as a devaluation. But they would have done that. Under Oak Tree now, they're probably saying like they're looking at it, every player as an asset. You maximize that asset. We're not giving, we're not bailing you out, paying 6 million because you made a mistake, which I can understand. But it's also like, are you really pushing the squad as far as you can? It felt like this summer they were kind of like, I wasn't against it. If you remember, I gave the summer window a 6 out of 10, if I remember. But I said, you can't have every summer being an overhaul and a big, revolution. But then there definitely could have been done a little bit more. Not a Photoshop. The picture, the thumbnail is actually Grok. So shouts out to Elon Musk, even though he's causing a lot of controversy these days. As
yeah. Let's not talk about him.
my stream might get cancelled if we start
Yeah,
talking about
we
Elon.
might get cancelled. So, so
I mean, before we move on from Inzaghi, I mean, the 200 coach bench appearances, that is a big achievement. He is
huge.
on his way to, get to Mancini and Trapattoni and all
Yes,
legendary coaches. So regardless of what he achieves in terms of just, especially modern football, we have to say the stability and the consistency that he's brought to Inter is definitely a good achievement.
Absolutely. It's something that cannot be taken away from him. And yeah, I'm sure he will. He's currently fifth. And yeah, he needs only 7 games to gain fourth spot. So
Mhm.
that's a given. And yeah, if he goes over Trapattoni, I think he will. He will stay the next season. Some people think he will get fired if we end up without any title, but I
No, I
don't know.
mean, Oak Tree, the last thing they care, Jules, is like the trophies. I'm telling you, Oak Tree seeing this plus 100 million already from the Champions League, then whatever we get in the summer from the Club World Cup, they're seeing like, yo, this Inzaghi guy with the minimal budget, this guy brings you in money. So we keeping this guy for life. So Jules, Oak Tree, I'm telling you, bro, they're not gonna care about the trophyless thing with Inzaghi. They're gonna look at, yo, this guy brings money in.
Yes. So before we end with Inzaghi, I just want to say one more thing that he had ups and downs with his league performances, but in the
Yeah,
Champions League, since he arrived, he brought back respect to our name in Europe. There is no question about that. So we have been very respectful in the Champions League since Inzaghi took over.
yeah.
We know
Qualifying
with
every
Conte,
time.
we were abysmal in Europe, and I don't want to talk about Spalletti and going back, but he really brought us on the European map. So, Oak Tree likes money, likes Champions League, so maybe they won't sack him.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's crazy. Previously I've had this channel for what, 5 years. Before we used to talk about Champions League is like, can we get past the group stage? Whereas now we're like, minimum is round of 16, quarterfinal nowadays. So that is the step that Inzaghi has made us do.
For sure.
Anyway, Mattia, let's move on. Let's see what topics we cover. So we've covered Inzaghi, 200 appearances, the crazy fixture list. Oh yeah, we talked about Zielinski, the Taremi. So Taremi, I know that you've been on Taremi fraud watch since like October,
Not
November.
October, January, since January.
Okay.
And I
Um,
think I was confirmed right.
yeah, yeah, you were, and I was completely wrong because I thought he was going to be a very good signing for us.
Yeah,
But
me
he
too. I
claimed,
mean, I was super excited about his signing and Zielinski. Zielinski was in Napoli a beast.
yeah,
So, but
yeah, we've seen the heaviness of the shirt can weigh very, very heavy, very, very heavy, and you can see that on Taremi when he wears the shirt. It feels like he's wearing 50 kilograms of vest on his head. But Mattia, he's claimed last couple of days, it was a pre-game before the final game, that he's been carrying an injury all season, that he's been playing with painkillers in pain-killing injections all season, which to me is two issues with that statement. One is, why the hell is Inzaghi starting this guy all season for like all the Champions League games if he's like not even fully fit?
good question.
And then two, is is this an excuse or is it actually the truth? So those are my two questions to you.
I don't know. Is the answer to both? I don't know, but it doesn't look good. Either way you look at it, it doesn't look good. So it's I don't want to say old, but older player.
Mm,
If he is now even riddled with injuries, that's not good. But if Inzaghi is starting him with injury, that's also not a good look. And if he is just making up excuses for his bad performances, that's also not good.
mhm.
So, whatever the case is, it doesn't look good.
I mean, Nadim is saying he's been carrying this injury from Porto. So now, now the another question, yeah, like Tesoro says, why do you buy an injured player?
Like again, nothing looks good.
But his preseason, he was crazy in
Yeah,
preseason.
he was the man of the preseason. He was the
Yeah.
best player in the preseason. So I don't know if he has the injury from Porto. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I always struggle to translate it to from Italian because I don't actually know the exact translation, but pubalgia I think is like the groin is like what is pubalgia? It's like it's like one of those annoying injuries that you can't like unless you get operated on it. It's like it doesn't stop you from running or doing exercise, but it's just it causes you pain. Maybe
Yeah,
pubalgia.
but as Christian says here in the chat, Turam also has been playing under painkillers, and Chalha also. He's not the only
Hernia,
one.
that's the one. Hernia. My dad had that.
Hernia. Oh,
Yeah,
my mother has that. So
yeah.
that means he's too old. Sorry, mom.
Yeah. But yeah, even with Taram, as we mentioned, at the beginning of 2024, this season, he was probably, player of the season. Since this injury, even before that, he's completely dropped off in form, and recently he's picked it back up again a little bit. But you see the difference in Taram. Like with Taram, is again the Juve game. He shouldn't have played in that game, Mattia. He looked completely unfit.
Chalha also a couple of games. Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like, I always say in my match previews, I trust Inzaghi and the medical team with the decision making, but at some points it clearly seems that they are forcing some of these players through some injuries.
Which is again why? Because the backups aren't showing up. Is that the main reason?
Hmm.
I don't know, but
Yeah, I guess that's that's another question. Is like he'd rather play 80,
uninjured.
90% fit Taremi rather than Arnautovic and not even put Correa into the Champions League squad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Frattesi said the same thing too. Yeah, Raven B. So apparently also Frattesi has been playing with painkillers, which another player who hasn't been really playing well this season, aside from his usual few goal contributions here and there.
I don't know. I don't. We don't know. That's the only thing that's certain. I don't want to speculate, but the fact is they haven't performed for this or that reason.
Yeah, yeah. Where are you on the Frattesi, by the way? Is I know that clearly in the summer he's probably going to go, but do you have
I am.
with
I'm not
Mkhitaryan?
on. Yeah, please.
No, sorry, with Zielinski's injury, do you trust him to come in games to be a starter or anything?
No, I am. I'm not on Inzaghi out train, but I'm on Frattesi out train. Uh, he's done. He has nothing to offer, and even those little goals that he used to give, that grinta, it's all gone this season. So I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he just doesn't fit the system. Obviously, his touches for his like he's playing in the midfield, and I have more touches in a game than he does. Like more passes. Like it's. I think it's just best for all parties to part ways in the summer, and I think that will happen. Um,
Yeah,
as soon as you know he got injured now, so maybe he's also injured. Uh, so yeah, I think he's
yeah.
done at Inter.
No, no. And yeah, going to your point of you having more touches than Frattesi, it's funny that Berenbrook, the young player who came in to against Feyenoord in 10 minutes. So Frattesi played for 84, 85 minutes. Berenbrook in 10 minutes had more touches, or I think the same, or just like one less maybe. But anyway, let's just say the same amount of involvement as Frattesi did for 85 minutes.
Brother, that's like I don't know. I'm laughing, but maybe I should cry. I don't know. It's both sad and uh, funny at the same time. It just doesn't, you know. He's too expensive to be a super sub for a couple of goals a season.
Yeah, yeah. That was my, the day we signed Frattesi, that was my exact tweet. Like, I liked Frattesi, and I think even I know that he's not. I mean, we all expected him to improve off the ball and positioning and on the ball, but he hasn't. But even regardless of that, I think it's always useful to have someone a bit different on your team. But for what we paid for him, it's it's too much. It's too much, and he's clearly never going to be starter over Barella, which because Inzaghi only sees him as the right centre mid. And look at that, Gabriele, who is like the biggest Frattesi fan, is also finally, turned on his boy, because it's just concerning what you see. It's really, really is concerning. There's
Yeah,
no
I mean,
improvement.
it's just not working out. I also liked him a lot last season. I thought he has, room to improve. Uh, he really did save us a couple of times when it was necessary. Those clutch goals and Grinta, I loved that about
Mm,
him. But it's just nothing this season. It's just zero. So
yeah.
and
Yeah, that's the thing that really I think a lot of Interisti really loved about him, was this: every time he comes on, he used to bring on this like energy and also shithousery. We never really had a
yeah,
shithousery type of player, and he seemed to be that type of guy. But this season, it just,
it's not
yeah,
there.
not quite there, not quite there. But actually, just finishing up on the Taremi thing, then Mattia, get rid of him in the summer. Is it already time to cut losses as soon as we can?
I would say yes, but I don't know if it pays, if it will be financially viable. We should have cut losses for Korea this season, but like you said, Oak Tree didn't want to do it. So I'm not sure if Oak Tree will take the loss on Taremi. I personally would, but I'm not sure if it will happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, Timmy, like, yeah, you can see he's not really, I heard Nima, talk, because he's Iranian. He said, like, it's an Iranian thing. He's a little bit shy. You can tell that, like, its body language doesn't seem to be, you know, maybe like fully integrated into the group, or really owning the moment and the shirt. There's not like that aura around. Like, when I used to watch him for Porto, you could tell, like, yeah, he's the main man at Porto. Like, he's the guy. Whereas when he plays, you can just see he's like shrinking as soon as the ball gets to him. Like, Feyenoord was the perfect example. That chance he had, right, Mattia, right in front of the goalkeeper. Takes a touch. He's got the whole goal to aim at, and then somehow manages to shoot it straight at the goalkeeper.
It sums up his whole season.
Yeah. But somehow, Mattia, we still got what, like 2-3 months to play. And then we also got that bloody Club World Cup. There's still time for this
Oh,
guy to somehow do something somewhere. And we know Inzaghi doesn't give up on anyone. That's one thing that will always, you can see in Arnautovic's turnaround. I mean, Mattia, you are also one of Arnautovic's biggest, what shall we call it?
I criticize him a lot.
Yeah.
Let's use that term.
But you,
If not,
even you are admitting, like, right now, he's actually way more useful than Taremi. But that's
yeah,
because Inzaghi doesn't give up on anyone. He'll keep giving people chances even when you least expect it.
I can't believe that we live in a timeline where Arnautovic is more reliable striker than Taremi, but somehow it is a fact.
I have seen the meme. I don't know if you saw it. The meme. Someone put the Pandev, or they put Taremi's face on Pandev going at the Alliance. I mean, that in itself would just be enough worth
Yeah,
having Taremi for the whole season.
that can be a good segue to Bayern.
Yeah. that could be the segue to Bayern, because I saw there was a lot of questions at the beginning
Yeah.
asking about our thoughts. I mean, I'll go back to Nick's Noxes at the beginning. Um, how are you feeling about it, Matija? Bayern, Vincent Company. I'm not really that scared, to be honest. Well, how are you feeling about this game?
I Yes, 2 years ago they comfortably beat us 2-0 both games. That's true. But also it's not the same Bayern, I feel. It's yeah, they have Kane, but I feel it's not that Bayern that everybody thinks of when you say Bayern Munich, you know. They don't look, even though against Leverkusen they destroyed him, but they didn't look like invincible this season. So I definitely think we have a chance, and it's definitely good that the second leg is at Meazza. That
Yeah,
gives us a small advantage. So it's, I would say, uh, 60-40 chance or 55-45 uh, in their favor. I think not big, not more than 5 or 10% in their favor. I would say it's pretty much even. Um,
yeah, yeah. Of course, Acerbi is gonna pocket Kane.
Acerbi, he's gonna add Kane to his pocket. Yeah,
Yeah, that like those doors with the hatchet meme.
yeah,
Adding all these top
death.
strikers
Yeah,
to his list. Yeah,
yeah. That
but that's
knocks on
the
doors.
issue is the guys behind Kane. Those are the types of guys that we struggle against, isn't it, Mattia? Like
Yeah.
the Sanes, the Gnabrys, the Coman, the Musialas, those types of guys that if they find some open space, like we see in Milan, for example, a 4-2-3-1 team, that if they counterattack, that's the type of team that we probably suffer the most against. um but it
Yeah.
depends on the day how they play us. Are they going to counterattack us, or are they going to try to dominate? If they try to dominate us, then I think, yeah, things could be good for us. I tweeted this
Yes.
out the other day. I don't know if I removed this moment from my mind, but then as soon as it was announced that we were facing Bayern, I reminded that Benjamin Pavard
Scored
dabbed on
against us.
us. Yeah. I mean, dabbing was already out of fashion. This was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Dabbing was out of fashion like 6 years ago. And I think he did it for like one of those, the Amigos guys, rappers passed away, which was, this is actually one of the reasons why I didn't used to like Pavard, because he rattled me so badly that day. Because I was like, how did we get this guy do this to us?
Wouldn't it be crazy if the first goal ever that he scores for Inter is against Bayern?
Yeah,
And he does that again.
yeah, that's what a lot of the comments were saying. Like, come on, it's got to be your first. Yeah, look at it. Time for him to score his first goal in Inter jersey.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's
this, as
insane
you were
that he hasn't
mentioning,
scored yet.
no, as you were mentioning, this was this was the team that we put out against the. But I mean, actually, on paper, it's not even that bad. I mean, we've put out, like, this has been our Champions League team this year, if you think about it.
Oh, Gagliardini. Oh my God. Vietnam War flashbacks.
Yeah, and then
Korea
Bellanova.
starting.
That was like Bellanova's, I think, first ever starter Inter, and he like, I don't know if you remember this moment. Like Inter kicked off, Aslani passed it straight towards him, and he just slipped over. Like that was his first action.
Yeah, but this was the game that had no impact on the table. So Bayern was first, we were second
Yeah,
guaranteed. So
this
I
was the
think
away
that's
one.
why Inzaghi rotated at
Yeah,
that time. Yeah.
and then the first one was the first time Onana started, where we were all saying like, please, please take out Handanovic. And that was the first Onana game. And then afterwards, he finally convinced Limone to be a starter. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was actually probably the lowest point of Inzaghi's Inter when we played that Bayern team.
Yeah.
Like I remember going into that game feeling like, please
Zero
don't beat us
chance.
3 or 4-0.
Yeah, zero chance. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that was the lowest point until Benfica. So that's when we started climbing up again. But it was really like we're going down in the league, losing to Udinese, fight with Bastoni and Inzaghi, and we were like really in the
Yeah. The
pits at
Skriniar
that point.
drama. That was the beginning of the Skriniar drama. So Katimi's been watching Bayern recently. They look very strong since the turn of the year. They still don't feel really like a team in the same way we do. Company tax, but things are clicking. Yeah, that's. I've watched some of the. I watched a Bayern Dortmund game once this season, and I watched some of. I watched one Bayern game in the Champions League, and I watched some of the highlights after last couple of days just to check on them. But they concede a lot of chances. That's what I've seen. Even in the Leverkusen, even though I think on aggregate they beat them 5-0.
Luckily, we take all of our chances.
Yeah. Oh god. You've already destroyed the point that I was trying to make before I made it.
Sorry.
So, anyway, let's move past that then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
just
yeah,
hope we will have a full team,
yeah,
and
yeah. But actually, let me check. Do Bayern have any injury issues? Maybe hopefully that can help us, Bayern Munich. Let's see if they've got any injury issues at the moment. I don't think they really have, if I remember the Leverkusen game. Let's bring up bottom up. So okay, they got Neuer out. That's good. And then Pavlovic is also a starter centre mid for them most of the time. So at least there's two.
yeah,
I don't know who the. I thought that was the. I thought that said Buchanan for a second. Yeah,
he's in Villarreal.
yeah. I mean that is a very very good lineup. But yeah, they have a. How old is this guy? 21-year-old goalkeeper in goal. Um,
So we should just shoot. So
yeah.
put Taremi up there.
And then Upamecano is also known to have his brain farts in big moments, in big games at times. So yeah, no, obviously, yeah, as you said, 55 or 60% to Bayern. Maybe I would definitely have them as favorites, but
Yeah,
not overwhelming for sure. I think we've definitely got a good chance, and I'm looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be a good game.
me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Do you fear Milan more than Bayern? That's what I also saw some people saying in the chat earlier in the Coppa.
Milan is our Sassuolo this season.
Uh-huh.
So mid-table team that somehow we just can't beat. I I don't fear them. I'm just annoyed. Like I said, I don't care about Coppa Italia, but I don't want them to beat us again. We have two more games,
Mm.
four losses in a season to them. That's unacceptable. Even if we don't care or I don't care about Coppa, it's unacceptable. We have to beat them at least one in these two games. Like, it is a derby, so
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I think Eduardo at the beginning of the stream said that he would put out the Primavera lineup against Milan. I mean, we know Inzaghi's not going to do that, but what is your opinion? Would you or would you not do that?
Uh, First game, I think they are the hosts. So maybe in the first game, because the first game is like 4 days before Bayern and Parma. So maybe the first game I would be like, okay, let's rotate. Not Primavera because it's Inzaghi. Who are we kidding?
Yeah. And it's
So
straight after the. Oh, no. Udinese is straight after the international break. Sorry.
yeah. So one of the two games, maybe the first or the second one, I don't know, but I would definitely rotate at least one of the two games for sure.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, the thing is, then you've got Parma afterwards away. So you could get away with it. I'm trying to think, how Inzaghi would try to think. I think he would probably do some rotation in the Parma game ahead of the Champions League quarterfinal.
Yeah. But
And it's two legs, right? So you kind of you can,
yeah, if you lose 1-0, you can overtake that in the second one. But yeah, it is gonna be hard. I don't envy Inzaghi and the guys. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. So apparently Opta have predicted us 57% to Inter. The Opta supercomputer. We've seen how accurate that has been.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, that again, that goes back to the consistency. They use probably some algorithm that used the last 4 or 5 seasons. So again, that goes back to how good we've been under Inzaghi over the last few years. That the algorithm has us even favorite over Bayern, but
Yeah, but I've
realistically,
also seen like Real was like fifth, sixth, seventh. Like
yeah,
that was insane.
yeah.
Uh,
But at the same time, the algorithm doesn't take into account that Acerbi could just literally disintegrate next game. Like he literally, people forget he disappeared for like 2 months. Like was it like December? We just didn't see him. Like he didn't even wasn't even in training. He was just like
yeah, it
he
was
just
injured. Yeah.
disappeared off the face of the earth. So we have players like that that could just any moment. And we've seen Zielinski now is just that guy never used to get injured, and now he's got his like first serious injury.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
We will talk about the training and everything after the season ends. And yeah. So I
yeah.
have 5 more minutes with you, which is the last topic you want to cover with me.
Right. So we've done. Oh, the Monza win. I mean, that's what I've watched all the games apart from the Monza one because that one was a
Pazza.
half 1 a.m. kickoff in India. And then I woke up and I saw that we won 3-2. But then I looked at, I was like, oh, okay, it must have been like Monza maybe did like, a mini comeback. But I looked at the time and I was like, we went 2-0 down on our 117th birthday. I was like, this is the most pazza Inter thing ever that you could do on Inter's birthday. So you tell me, because I haven't even been able to rewatch the game fully aside
Dead
of
last, dead last Serie B team, and you go 2-0 down at your own stadium and for your own birthday. But that's the Pazza way. Yeah. It was not pretty watching that game, man. It was not pretty.
Oh, yeah, and then the other thing that made me like look at the screen like this was like Keita Balde.
Yes,
Keita
I
Balde.
knew it. I effing knew it that he was gonna score. That just,
But
what
then like
happened.
I went to look at then I went to highlights and I'm like, what kind of goal is that? Like that was one of the goals of the season as well. And I bet you he does not score for the rest of the season now.
Of course. Of
And
course.
then I log into Twitter and then I see a compilation of in 2025 of Tuku Correa as a mezzala, and I'm like, what the hell did I miss? Like,
Yeah, that was one of the big WTF moments. Like, why did he? So, Correa was ahead of Frattesi in the chopping order. Like, he put on Correa as a midfielder instead of Frattesi. He didn't see the pitch that day. That was like, what? What? So,
yeah.
what I
But was
remember
it?
from
I
that
saw the
game.
highlight. Like, well, he didn't even look that good to me. Like, people were really hyping that performance. Was he even that good?
I mean, he was okay. He wasn't like a master class like people say. It's more like a meme, but he was solid because Monza was just defending the whole game. So he had a
Yeah,
lot of space to work with.
yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't a hard position to be in. That's the point, you
yeah.
know.
And obviously,
So
he's a technical player. He can, you know, but he lacks intensity up front. So how the hell is he going to have intensity as a midfielder? I don't see it. People are, I think they're grasping at straws with this Korea revival thing.
yeah.
But and
So
this is a very low bar as well. Better than Frattesi.
not a good bar, yeah. So before I go, I'll tell you what I remember from the game. So Lautaro scored a goal at the 24th minute, and it was disallowed because of a stupid, like, it was a handball, but it didn't affect the game. But it was VAR, and it it was disallowed. And that at that moment, I felt like this is not gonna be our game. And not even 10 minutes after that, a counterattack goal. Not even 10 minutes after that, counterattack goal. We were 2-0 down, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw some shit around the room now. And luckily, a minute after they scored the second one, the Arna goat made it 2-1. Great assist by Dumfries. And I think that's the reason why we turned it over, because instantly we went back to 2-1. And then second half, they were just defending. And yeah, Hakan had a great shot, great goal. And yeah, so we were able to turn it around. But it was super important because both Atalanta and Napoli won. So yeah, it's going to be tight.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, thank you, Matija. I won't hold you. I mean, I'm not gonna stay for much longer because yeah, it's been an hour, so I don't think there's too much else to talk about. I'll do a separate Atalanta preview, by the way, guys. But thank you, Matija, for
You're
joining us
welcome.
today. Any
It was a
leaving
pleasure.
remarks?
Thank you, my man. It was a pleasure as always. Thank you for inviting me. Welcome back. We all missed you, as you see from the chat. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and see you some other time. Forza Inter.
Ciao, Matija. What a top lad Matija is. Came through for us and helped me in this live stream. So yeah, just a few more minutes, guys. Let me know if you have any more questions. Let me go up. Actually, I saw there's some questions I missed, so I'll go back up. Yes, Lab Gorilla, I am feeling better. Thank you very much. I'm not looking forward to playing you guys. Lab Gorilla is a Milan fan, obviously, if you can't tell. That would be, if we do beat you, though, yeah, it would just add more insult to injury to your comedy season. Let me see some questions that I may have missed out. I saw something about Nico Paz or something along those lines. Oh yeah, Alex here. So, I mean, yeah, Nico Paz, I'll make a video on it. We've been linked to him the whole season. Arda Güler, I mean, you know, it just seems like one of those. What was the source? What was the source of that link? That's always my question to you guys. If you follow me on this channel, you should know you don't come to me unless you've heard something from a good source, because I don't really talk about random moves. So it looks like Tutto Sport. I mean, as far as sources go, that's near the bottom for me in terms of transfer news. Tutto Sport, and they are a pro Juve newspaper anyway. So not good source, but even I'll disregard the source just to, because I saw someone else asked about this as well. Where are you going to play him? Inzaghi system in the 3-5-2. Second striker, not really. Mezzala maybe in the future, but would need a lot of work. And, you know, Real Madrid probably only loan him out. So don't really see that. Nico Paz is the one that obviously is a lot more likely, a lot more viable. Still a very difficult deal to make happen because Real Madrid have that buyback clause. Even if they don't have a buyback clause, I think they have like a 50% resale fee, resale clause with Como. So regardless, they have a lot of control in that deal. So it's difficult. We don't want to do a Brahim Diaz type deal for Nico Paz, but at the same time, I don't think a Nico Paz deal is the end of the world if it helps you. You know, sometimes you have to do some deals like, you know, Brahim Diaz for Milan. He was there for 2 seasons. Yes, they didn't manage to keep him. They had to send him back to Real Madrid. But did Brahim Diaz help Milan achieve their goals for the 2 seasons he was there? He did. He did. He wasn't the finished article. He still isn't the finished article. It's not a big club thing to do to, develop a player for another team or help them, develop a player. But if it helps you with your goals in the short term, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, ideally, we don't want to do a Brahim Diaz type of deal when it comes to Nico Paz. I'll wait for other sources or better sources if the other Goulet thing is true. There was also a story about Kimmich. Again, Kimmich, who was the source? I mean, you guys know, if you was it 2 months ago when I spoke about the Hakan deja vu? Go back on my channel if you can later. The video is called Deja Vu. Are we seeing Brozovic situation again with Hakan? Something along those lines. And I did mention that, Kimmich, he's going to be a free transfer, free agent at the end of the season. But I believe, from what I understand, Kimmich has actually renewed his contract with Bayern. So that one is over. So again, probably trash source. And in the end, oh yeah, here you go. You guys in the comments are also saying that. So Kimmich did renew. So that's the end of that. Goulet Paz. I mean, yeah, as I said, Goulet, like, what even is the fit for Arda Goulet in this with Nico Paz? Even with Nico Paz, it's like, I know he picks up that position, the Mezzala position, in terms of, when you look at his average, when you look at his heat map and average position for Como, he does pick up those positions at times, but he's definitely playing in a higher position on the pitch for Como than a Mezzala. But you can see that he can, physically, he's 6 foot, he's quite intense. He doesn't shy away from the physical side of the game. He can definitely make that transition to be a Mezzala. With Goulet is like, this guy is complete, fancy, little CAM. He just wants to drift around and be, touch the ball with his, he's got a beautiful touch and, very wonderful technique. But, there's a reason why, Ancelotti's not finding any space for him, because he's not really a winger. He's not really a centre mid. He's not a striker. He's a CAM, and not many teams play with that type of CAM anymore. So definitely Nico Paz, if it's relation to Inter. If you're talking about, like, in general, then that's a different conversation, because yeah, Arda is a wonderful, wonderful talent. Oh yeah, Cherki would be magnificent in our front too. But one conversation that we do need to have now about Inzaghi as well is Corriere dello Sport as well. Okay. When you guys know me, also what I say is, when there's multiple sources that mention something, then there's something that's definitely something to talk about. Then okay, fair enough. It's Corriere is also saying it. With Corriere is also not that great of a source, but if the Corriere is also saying alongside Tuttosport, that's already something. But going back, one thing with Inzaghi, we do say, like, he allows freedom, he allows, he's a good development coach. But now there's one thing that I've realized now that we're year 4 of Inzaghi. Yes, he allows freedom in terms of movement, but it is within the 3-5-2. It's like, sometimes you see Hakan, Barella, Mkhitaryan as the 3 centre backs, and then the midfielders or the centre backs have gone up, but it's all within. It's very positional. He's not a JDP coach, a juego de posición coach. Those are very strict positional coaches, the Spanish school of style of play, like Arteta, Xabi Alonso. But he's almost there. He's actually, he allows freedom, but he's actually very strict in the positions of the players and the instructions of the players in those positions. Like, you've seen it when the way we play, it's all just, pass there, get there. And of course, it's also because we don't have guys that can dribble. But at the same time, I don't think Inzaghi wants guys to be dribbling. I don't think Inzaghi wants players to be just completely doing their own thing and just leaving them to their own devices. So I think even a guy like, in my mind, I also used to say this, Nadim, like, oh, Cherki allowed to roam around behind, the main striker and to have a free role. But I don't really think Inzaghi actually. I think theoretically we think Inzaghi likes that, but I don't really know if he actually wants that. I don't think he likes. I think he does like quite a heavy structure in his system. But it would, or just on a personal basis, watching Cherki play, I really would like to see him at Inter, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Inzaghi wants him to explore in open space. Feels like, yeah, he always likes to have that. Yeah, his Lazio team was different. I think our idea of Inzaghi with some of these things has actually come from Lazio, because Correa was that type of second striker at Lazio where he used to be given that freedom, which is why we signed him and why I liked him when he was at Lazio. He used to do that. And then Luis Alberto was also given that freedom because he wasn't very good defensively. He was, there was a ceiling to that Lazio team, which is why they didn't win that Scudetto in the end, the COVID season Scudetto. They were first for a long time, and then COVID hit, and then they didn't. The SMS, Luis Alberto, Lucas Leiva midfield was very good, but SMS and, Lucas or Parolo, whoever was playing that CDM role, had to pick up a lot of slack for Luis Alberto because he had that lot of freedom. But yeah, I think that Lazio team was a little bit more open and free compared to this Inter team. This Inter team, as I said, I'm sure you guys know by now, when you watch this Inter team play, it's very structured, very, very structured. Yes, players move everywhere, all over the place, but in terms of the way we build up, the way we create chances, it's very, very similar every single time. It's very structured. But maybe, yeah, it's because he doesn't have players like Luis Alberto or the Correa from that Lazio team, who I guess it is Thuram now, who's he's a superior version of that Correa anyway. So even Zielinski, the fact that Zielinski is not shining, Zielinski used to be like a Luis Alberto player even for Napoli, but he's in this Inzaghi system. I think there's also a reason why maybe Inzaghi doesn't like him too much. Zielinski likes to hold the ball a little bit more than maybe Inzaghi wants. He is more of that Luis Alberto type of player, but even he, like, Zielinski is the player that maybe has made me think this. Like, we used to talk about, imagine Eriksen under Inzaghi, like, because Conte had him, doing very strict positioning and running back and things. But you've seen Mkhitaryan's role in that left centre mid position, just like Eriksen's was at Inter. I don't really know how much really Inzaghi would have let him thrive, because I think Inzaghi knows this team needs to have this defensive structure as well at the same time. So it's a balance that Inzaghi has achieved, but I think sometimes I think we should see what our eyes have seen for the last 4 years at Inter. I don't think Inzaghi is that much of like Ancelotti is the type of guy that gives that freedom to players. But again, he has those types of players. But the question is, again, we're in year 4 of Inzaghi. Does Inzaghi want those types of players? That's also the question, guys. Like, I know Inzaghi probably doesn't have that much power compared to other coaches around Europe in terms of transfers. But, he's renewed his contract, 2 times now at Inter? I'm sure he's been wanting players. Some of the players that we've signed are in agreement with Inzaghi. We all, as fans, we always keep every summer. We always it's the same conversation since Conte was here. We need dribblers. We need dribblers. We need pace. We need dribblers. But then the transfer window comes. We, aside of like Thuram, Correa in some way, Buchanan in some way, we've signed no players that fit that type of profile. So it's interesting. And even Nico Paz, I feel like he's like, I've tried to watch plenty of Nico Paz, and he's striking me, Nico Paz, as not just a gifted left-footed, CAM like creative player. I see a lot of I see a dog in Nico Paz. So I want to see how Inzaghi envisions Nico Paz. Does he envision him as the Mezzala? Is this an Ausilio buy? Because we've seen, you can tell which ones are the Piero Ausilio buys and which ones are the Inzaghi buys. Like Buchanan is clearly a Ausilio and scouting team buy that Inzaghi obviously green lighted, but Inzaghi wasn't out there saying go and get me, this guy from Belgium. Is Nico Paz an Inzaghi request and 100% buy-in? And does he see him as a left centre mid, as a future Mezzala? That would be, if he does see him as that, then definitely. But yeah, I mean, Alex, it's not just now. It's like it's a recurring theme, but that's the style of play that we've chosen. Is by design. It's not by accident, and it's also effective. It's proven to be effective. It's just that in some situation, and I agree, I'm not going against you here. I'm explaining the reasoning behind why we don't, because they've clearly chosen to build the squad in the way that it is without these types of players, and that's why I'm saying, are we sure that Inzaghi wants these types of players? But we do need these types of players at moments to just break the patterns, break the other team's systems, do something different, provide us pace on the counter-attack in open space, especially in European football, where, the game is completely different, 100%. Fabrizio Bezzino, yeah. I mean, everyone is clearly obsessed. Zanetti is obsessed with this guy. He's going to dinner with him and his dad every other week, by the sounds of it, or inviting him to his restaurant in Milano and visiting Como every game. We know that a lot of guys at Inter are infatuated with Nico Paz. So I hope Inzaghi is also one of those guys, if we are putting all the eggs in the basket. Yeah, like I've even compared his running style. Again, it sounds like it's a slight towards Nico Paz, but actually it's a good thing in terms of running style and running power. He actually reminds me of Frattesi, which is actually really, really good, because that means the way he covers the ground, he's got powerful legs. Like he's not as always when I was talking about Arda Güler and Nico Paz. Nico Paz is like, you can see physically he's 6 foot, but he's not like a skinny 6 foot. He's like he can hold his own in duels. He's got, good determination. Like he's got that grinta, that Argentina, garra in him as well. He's not as clean cut and just a fancy little player like some people make him out to be. He's actually got both sides to his game. So yeah, and yeah, this is a play style we can afford. Yeah, because those types of players, the best dribblers and most exciting wingers and the strikers are also the most expensive. Also true, Bobby Miley. Very good point. Yeah, Benjamin, thank you for coming through. 1 hour 20 of this live stream. This was my return to live streaming. So I will see you. So I'll do a match preview for the Atalanta game, probably tomorrow or Saturday, because we're playing Sunday. So probably Saturday. Post-match live for the Atalanta game, and then all the other games. So I'm back with the usual schedule, unless I will tell you otherwise. You know, there's games here and there that I might miss in terms of post-match live stream. I need to watch more of him, Shakir. I don't know. I don't really know what his potential is. I'm not as. I'll tell you this. I'm not head over heels, Nico Paz, as some fans are, because I watch him and yeah, I'm not head over heels for him. I don't feel like, you know, this is like we must buy him. Like I don't feel like I'm gonna lose sleep if we don't manage to sign him, which I think a lot of Inter fans are, and I think our management feels like they're obsessed with him. But I do need to watch more of him. Like I need to go back and watch some full games. But definitely, I think he would come and upgrade our midfield. That's for sure. That's for sure. And yes, congrats to Beckenbauer, who has got called up to the German national team. There was rumors that he might go for Cameroon, because I think his heritage is from Cameroon, but it looks like he will opt for Germany. I mean, he still could go for Cameroon if he doesn't actually get capped for Germany. But yeah, congrats to him. He deserves it. Thank you, Wing Channel 11, everyone that came through. Appreciate you guys coming through. 64 people. I did not expect many people to come through this live stream, kind of random stream with no real aim, just kind of talking with you guys about current state of things at Inter. The post check. Let me check. I've done all the topics. Oh yeah, Cocky. I mean, we talked about Berenbrook, Cocky as well, the left back that debuted against Feyenoord. He also looked very nice to me. I said I think he should have played, in my opinion, against Feyenoord in the first leg instead of Bastoni at left wing back. Yes, Bastoni was amazing at left wing back, but I think Cocky could have done fine as well. But yeah, you know, could have been difficult away at Feyenoord, the Kuip, difficult stadium, everything. You guys know. Yeah. I'm not Primavera merchant, far from it, but sometimes I feel like Inzaghi could use it. But yeah, with that, I have covered all the topics of the post check today. Final closing comments for you guys. Oh, Brian Pawson, very, very rare appearance in the live stream. Good to see you. Good, sir. Will Aslani's yellow against Feyenoord, hers against Bayern Munich? Well, no, you know, I mean, if Hakan's not injured, that's a good thing. You know, Hakan has to start, even though Hakan's not been particularly good. But that means, yeah, Hakan starting if he's not injured. So that should not hurt us against Bayern Munich. No. But yeah, thank you everyone that is come through. Yeah, for 20-25 million Nico Paz, that would be amazing, but it probably will be more. Thank you for coming through. Hope you guys enjoyed that really long live stream by my standards. See you for the Atalanta preview and then for the Atalanta post-match. Ciao ragazzi. Always, Forza Inter.